Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Millionaire Mindset Mondays. I'm Jan Carmanico Reeves, your host, and we're here every Monday night at 6 p.m. live EST. We're talking about partnerships, and each week we have wonderful guests with us. So this week, we have Mich and Mel of Magnetic Ventures, who started out as passive investors, and you guys have been at it for a while now.
November 2020.
Okay. I was
Yep.
going to say about 5 years. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was right on. Yeah. So started out passively and are now transitioning to being active real estate investors with partnerships. So welcome, Mish and Mel. And why
Yeah.
don't you introduce yourselves a little bit, expand a little bit on who you are, what you do, and all that good stuff.
Absolutely. Absolutely. First of all, thank you so much for having us on your podcast. We are big fans. We really enjoy your content and your energy. So thank you for including us as part of this and letting us be contributors to the people that follow you. My
Oh,
name is Melissa Gerard. I'm so Mulligan. And as you mentioned, we are Magnetic Ventures. We are the real estate investors for people who are looking to get into real estate without the hassle of the toilets and the tenants, so that they too can enjoy multiple streams of income and get that time and money freedom that we're all seeking right now.
absolutely.
Hmm.
So, you talk about keep taking small steps or small actions daily towards your goal. So, um, how do you go about doing that? What kind of routines do you do? Explain a little bit more about that.
Sure thing. So, I'll rewind a little bit in because I realize I probably should have put a little bit more content into our intro, and I'll weave that our steps into the answer. So, Michelle and I, 5 years ago during COVID, with a little bit of extra time, we decided to learn about. We saw other people doing things online, and Michelle particularly had a lot of interest in real estate and thought, this can change our lives. So with our downtime, we decided to, join different mentorships, get the education we thought we needed to acquire to really learn about how to invest. And so while we were, gobbling up all the content we could, registering to various conferences and really just trying to take in as much anybody who wanted to talk about real estate, we're willing to listen. And but while we were doing that, we thought, let's get some momentum going. Let's dip our toe in investing. And so that's where we started off passively. And we thought investing passively was a great way to broaden our horizons a little bit, expose ourselves to the industry while we acquire the knowledge we felt we need to eventually turn over from passive to active investors. And so, we stuck to passive for about 3 years or so, yeah, letting out different forms of money, getting involved in different types of deals. And now that we have been on the other side, we feel that we can transfer that knowledge from being that passive investor to the active one and come in with a lot of empathy for the people who are lending out their money, because we were once them and we still are them. Yeah. We still invest quite a bit of our own money passively into different deals because it's, different ways of balancing up portfolios. So now we're a little bit more on the active side. And so, going into those good habits is something that we work a little bit more closely on now that we're on the active side of things. So things like your mindset, right?
Mm.
Making sure that you start your day off with intention, with goals, and with the right level of energy. Realizing that you can start your day in crises, and then a little bit late, running late for this, eating food on the go, whatnot. But if you really take your time to embrace the mornings and set them off with intentions, whether through meditation, a little bit of movement, visualization, we feel, but Michelle's really, really good with the mornings. I was really good with the mornings at one point, slacked off a little bit and realizing as I'm in this huge project and I have more and more on my plate that taking control of your mornings and building those habits is the best way you can contribute to all aspects of your life. Your mental health, you'll make sure you have time for that, your business, if you have a 9 to 5, friendships, family, all those pieces all contribute to making sure that your life is well balanced and having a successful morning is a great first way to accomplish that.
Yeah, and I'll say that especially I think this work where you come in fresh in your morning and you know exactly what you're doing, pre-planning the night before. What are you going to do? What's the next step? Okay, so what do I need to do to get here? So now that you have all these steps lined up, now it's just action the next day. It's just about conquering. And so we feel that that is the best recipe in order to take small action steps.
I like that because the best way you can have a great morning is, to prepare the night before. And part of that too is visualizing that you're actually going to get out of bed at 5 a.m. and get up and get out. Because sometimes, we have these good intentions, we set our alarm off and then it's like snooze, 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 snooze. But it's probably because you're right, it's getting back to that evening routine that sets you up for the morning routine. So small steps there as well. But other really good habits that, Michelle and I really focus on when we are focusing on our business is, to have to separate things up into quarters, right? Have those quarterly goals. One resource and tool that we really, really like is the next not plausible action, the next
intentional step.
The next intentional step. So if we have a goal, this week we want to find 2 new investors. So what's the next logical step for us to get 2 new investors, right? And just break it down into really simple actions. Make 2 calls a day, have a follow-up call, attend this meeting. And so your next logical actions are so simplified that you can every day take a look at them and say, oh, well, this goal may be really big if you look at it from a lens from, oh, in a week's time, I want to achieve this. But if you break them down into next logical steps and you just take one little step every day, you'll find that you actually end up doing more and more and more towards that step then because you've broken down the biggest barrier, which is just starting.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. Anything else for best habits for business?
Best habits for, I think you said most of it actually. And you know what? Time blocking. I want to get to that because I'm the worst at it. And so the thing is, if you really want to take those steps and achieve them, you need to give yourself that time. Lately I have not been exercising. And so I'm not putting it in there and the time block is not there for me. So I'm not making it happen. So just, be real with what you can do and all the hours in a day, time block, and have a plan for the next day. And yeah, you'll succeed if, and if your goal is that important to you, you'll take steps every single day to get there.
Agreed. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So, right now you're working on your first partnership deal, right? Yeah, that's very exciting. Congratulations.
Yes, thank you.
Maybe tell us a little bit about how you chose your partners, what steps you went through, what discussions did you have, all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. So we attracted our partners, and a big part of what we do, and a little bit going back to that those mornings and creating those really good habits is, where we talked about meditation, visualization, and whatnot. And so Michelle and I are, our company's name is Magnetic Ventures. We really do live a lot of our lives and have made a lot of our decisions based on attracting the right people, attracting the right time, attracting the right opportunities that are filled with like love and positivity. And so when we were new and just getting out there and networking and posting and just putting ourselves out there with good intent, we went to a building and we went there with one of our mentors. And so we did the selfie and said, we're doing this walkthrough and da 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 da. And we posted it. And our current partners ended up messaging us and said, "Oh, we're looking at that building too. What a small world." And then we just, started chit-chatting a little bit, talking about values, talking about what each of our respective goals are within our businesses, and quickly realized that we were each other's opposites in a really good way. So my strengths were their weaknesses and their weaknesses were our strengths. And, it's a foursome. So it's the two of us and it's Crave Properties. So Kimberly Ridgway and Andrew Vesna, so we're this four of us. So we can create a quadrant of skill sets that we naturally are already good at. And we were able to divide some of the usual characteristics that you would want in a partnership into four quadrants to identify who is responsible for what. So it really just came organically through just getting to know each other, talking with one another, spending time with one another, talking about how we, what our visions are for our businesses, what our visions are for our lives, how we see real estate being a vehicle towards that. And it just naturally came to a place where we're just like, okay, well, I'm really good at this, you're really good at this, or I'm really good at this. And it seems like together we can make this really cool partnership. And so it just started with that. And once we realized we had something there, we just kept working, like having regular meetings, underwriting all together, brainstorming. What would we do if we had a building under contract, and what would be our marketing strategies? And we came up with all these cool little things. And then lo and behold, we finally got that building under contract, and we have this beautiful 35-unit building in Brockville, Ontario. We're so excited about it. Like, we just talk about it nonstop. And our wonderful partners, Kimberly and Andrew, are just as ecstatic about this property. And our partnership has really just allowed us all to grow as individuals, grow as couples, and really get yourself out there doing things that you never thought you would. But with the right partners, you feel like you're excited to put yourself out there. You're excited to grow so that they can see what you're doing and be just like, it's just nonstop good energy and nonstop like vibration of this deal.
That's very exciting. Again, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, did you structure it like kind of half and half, or does Mel have a quarter and Melissa have a quarter? Like, how did you separate all the tasks and duties in the partnership?
Um, how did we do that? Essentially, we just had a conversation about, okay, so what are we bringing to the partnership? And then we just depending on the task, we kind of aligned it with the, I guess, percentage. And I don't know, what else would you say?
It was just naturally just talking about our different skill sets, right? So here's something I'm good at. We all have 9-to-5 jobs, and that we enjoy doing, and we're not, trying to leave necessarily right away. And so, if everyone coming in with very different occupations, we all come in with very different skill sets. And so starting there and talking about, okay, well, I'm really good with the mechanics and I can do, the construction. Well, then that's an easy one. Oh, I'm really good at being an extrovert and putting myself out on stages and talking. And so maybe I'll take a little bit more of this. Well, I love underwriting and I'm really good with attention to detail. So we all just naturally kind of put out what we were already really good at. And then we looked at the gaps. And then we started to identify, what am I willing to learn?
Yeah.
Right? What am I saying? Okay, this is new, but I'm interested in it, or it's something that I'll go for it. You know what I mean? I'll take it, either I'll take it for the team, or I'm willing to learn and I've been curious about it already. So it's really just about having those conversations. I think you can never have too many awkward conversations when you're starting to get to know a partnership, because clarity and communication at the beginning of the onset of that partnership is going to resolve so many issues down the line, just by talking about things and just being like, listen, I've got this weird question, or I'm a little uncomfortable with this. Let's talk about it. And usually you'll find that the awkwardness lies mostly in that time where you realize you have a question or there's something that you're unclear with, and that gap before you actually resolve it, that is the most awkward part, and that is where your mind ends up filling in that unknown with all kinds of possibilities that usually never end up rendering, right? So, you know, get used to having awkward conversations with your partners from the beginning, and you'll be, even if
Stronger
you'll be stronger. And, sometimes I was talking with Kim a couple of meetings ago, and I was like, let's have an awkward part of our, like a standing agenda item, awkward parts, so that we always know that there's a space for it. Yeah. Right? Because then it's just like we're allowed to ask questions, and we're allowed to say, hey, like, I noticed that, this on this lawyer's paperwork, I'm not quite understanding it. Or, I feel like, this marketing can take a turn towards something else, and then just talk it out. Because if you don't, that's, usually where you end up filling those gaps, like I said, with your imagination, which often is not what it.
Thing. I
Yeah.
love that. I love that you actually schedule it into the agenda of your meeting. Awkward discussion. So everybody's mindset is prepared for it, right? And it's totally anticipated. Like nobody's bulldozing in with some random, you know.
Two couples coming in, right? And we can have all sorts of conversations and it's not awkward. But when you're coming together with another partnership, then you have to date each other, kind of thing, because one of the hardest topics to talk about is money.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you can't get through that, then you can't get through much, because REI is a lot about, money and stuff.
Yeah.
So
Well,
those are
especially
some
with
of the hardest
partnerships.
conversations.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so you have to be on the same wave. And sometimes if you're not, having those awkward conversations are necessary, or else you're just not going to make it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah.
No, that's great. And it's, everyone has different communication styles, right? So learning to voice what your preferred communication style is. And if you're having a hard time communicating with one of your partners or your investors, right? Because your investors are part of that partnership too, is just ask them, how do you like to communicate?
Yeah.
Do you prefer on the spot? Do you like to have planned meetings? Some people don't like to be interrupted and needs to be scheduled. Some people are like, oh yeah, I've got a question. Just email me anytime, you know what I mean? But some people, that's really off-putting. Or I don't want to be emailed every week. I'd rather you collect, a hefty enough update and then talk to me then. And so just asking how people like to communicate is, one of those little tips that can never go wrong with you. And it's difficult to get going. But like I said, once you put room maybe in your agenda or your mindset to be okay with that, your partnerships will flourish.
Yeah, I agree. And I love the way you compare it to like you're dating, right? Because really if you're forming a partnership with somebody, you're getting into a marriage with them, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's more than like 5 years, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And it's 5 years longer. So you might as well get along.
That's right. That's right.
And
Yeah.
there's got to be trust there, right? So,
And you have to talk about those awkward questions. Absolutely, especially money. And that's what I find now. I'm okay with asking people money questions now, whereas before you would never think to, especially for a financial partner, right? Like you would never think to ask them, but they're really important. Like,
Yeah.
where's the money coming from? How much do you have where and when do you need it
Yep.
back and all these kind of
Taking
things.
it
And
back. Yeah.
yeah, all those kind of things. And yeah, like I would never have dreamed of being so frank with somebody about money, pre real estate investing.
Well, and like, who am I to ask where is it coming from? Like,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
and it's not because of nosiness. It's because you want to match the deal with their goals and outcomes. Because if you know where the money's coming from and you know what they plan to do with it and their timelines, you can respect that and you can bring forth deals that will complement them better because you don't know what they don't know. And so maybe they're thinking, well, I'm going to take it out of my credit card and everything's going to be fine because I have this money, this much money. And you're like, oh, no, but this deal, it's more about the equity and the cash flow is very minimal. Like that's not the highlight. The highlight is the
Mhm.
long-term play. And so if you're taking money out on a credit card, that's not the right deal for you. You need a high cash flow monthly return type deal to support you with your interest payments to have that right. So you can say, like, at first I was like, why would I ask him where the money's coming from? That's none of my business. It
It's
is your
very important.
business.
Yeah.
It is your business.
The thing is, you're here as an expert. Like we've been the passive partner, so we know what to expect. You know what I mean? We can't just, if we took, let's say you take money out of your HELOC, well, interest rates well, HELOCs are on a variable rate. So, the interest rate went pretty high. So, not everyone can afford that, but not every, it's
They
to
have
have
the
those
extra cash
conversations
flow.
about,
Yeah.
hey,
To
just so
make the
you
payments.
know,
Yeah.
this
Uh-huh.
can also go up and drive your interest cost more, which would give you a lot less. But at the end of the day, it's just having those frank conversations and be able to guide them along the way. And I find we're stronger because we come from the passive side, because we know a few of those things, and we've got caught up in a few things, and sometimes we wish that we would have had those conversations and someone would have guided us maybe a little bit more. But coming in there, I feel like we're approaching this, on we're learning every day, right? But these are lessons that we've learned that we want to do to help investors. First of all, to help them get out of the grind, and number two, just grow with us. And so learning the lessons that we've paid a lot of money to learn. And so here's a little bit tidbit information. Come on this journey with me. We'll guide you. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. A part of our onboarding process is to explain to our investors about due diligence and teach them how to do due diligence for this particular deal. Like we're teaching them how to fish. So it's nice for us to say, oh, look at this deal. We've done the due diligence, but we want them to do their own due diligence and talk to their own accountants and talk to their own lawyers so that they have not only our perspective as the person sharing the deal and inviting them to come into in this partnership, but they are using their own trusted professionals to ensure that this is the right deal. And it's more than just lawyers and accountants, but really understanding the numbers that we're presenting them with them. Again, teaching them how to do their own diligence, maybe a little bit of underwriting so that they can see and understand it. Because I think if you educate them, then they're going to be better investors for you. And that, again, always falling back to that partnership, right? It's how do you improve the partnership from the get go and understand everything that is important to them and everything that's important to us and making sure they actually align so that you can really truly embark on this journey together and own a beautiful apartment building.
yeah.
In Brockville, Ontario.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And that's, yeah, maybe more for people who are, especially for people who are not real estate investors. That's really important to teach them some due diligence and how to underwrite properties for sure. I have a new investor coming in that uh, who was an active real estate investor and now he's turning passive. So he's been in the business for a while. So he had, sent his the JV agreement to his lawyer a few times, tweaked it a little bit, which was great. And so we were doing the final signing and he said, just one more thing. He says, I have been doing some due diligence, and he looked up the corporation and he didn't see my name on it. So, and he wanted just some proof that I actually own the corporation, which kudos to him, So I
Yeah,
just sent him the articles of incorporation. So, but he looked up on the registry, and I thought, good for you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
yes. Make it work. Ask the questions. And
Mhm.
you know what? And if there's an error somewhere, we're all human, right? We're all trying to improve every day.
Yeah.
And thank you for making my life a little bit better by showing me that I had a small gap here, whether it was because it was just forgotten or you didn't know, right? So
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
always a beautiful exchange that can happen between, the passive investor and the active investor. And it's not just passive people giving out money and active people looking for money. There's growth, there's relationship, there's,
Partnerships.
yeah. And like, let's talk about what's happening in your family. I want to know what it is
I-
you're saving for. And I want to know about the milestone moments that are happening in your life because
Get excited.
let's all get excited together and being in a part of this journey. And so that not only that, but again, to make sure that this is the right deal for you so that we are complementing your goals and your dreams and not taking away from them.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's part of it too. Another investor. I had a 2 hour walk in the park with her, who's on Sunday, and they're not real estate investors. They're very educated people with youngish tween children, so they're very busy, very smart people. And I've had a few conversations with them now about how it works, but yeah, it's all part of getting to know the family, the timelines, all those important things, where the money's coming from. Um, yeah, just because you want to make sure that it's the right deal for them, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to get them into something that's not going to align with their life plan or their
Yeah.
finances, or yeah, it's really, really important.
It's not just about taking their money to feed your goal. It's building trust with an investor who will one day be a future partner to make sure that whatever deal we bring to them is aligned with their goals. And sometimes it takes years before you find the right project with them, you
Right.
know, but it's years of getting to know, somebody who vibes at your frequency, who has alignment, who is teaching you something while you teach them something. And it's always a give and take of, you know, dream swapping, right? Like, what's your dream? What's mine? How can we make it work?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love that you go for walks with your investors. I do the same thing too. Like, it's meetings don't have to always be boardrooms,
Yeah.
tactile tactile movements is so enriching and allows you to be so creative. And so while you're getting to know, or while you're brainstorming about a deal, or while you are talking about dreams and whatnot, to be able to move and to bring that level of excitement into those conversations with your investors is it's unique. And I know I do it. I'm glad to hear that you do it as well.
Well, I know time is a challenge to her, and I know um, she has a high stress job. These kids, busy activities, blah blah blah. And I know, she has a challenge of trying to take time to herself and be active. And so I said, why don't we go for a walk, on Sunday
Well,
afternoon? So yeah, it was
are we not
perfect.
in the business of solving problems? And that's another two birds with one stone, right? You need to get out, you want to talk about this, but you're lacking time. Well, let's
Yeah,
couple
and
movement with talking business. And
ironically, I got up Sunday morning. I was going to go for a walk, and I thought, oh, no, I'll do something else because I'm going for a walk later. Instead of, yeah, yeah. So, anyways, it's all
good
good.
for you.
I've
Yeah,
had more people lately have been doing both. Yep, just adding the active with the meetings
Yeah.
and stuff.
Crawling out of hibernation, right? We're all ready
Yeah.
for spring and
yes, exactly.
Um,
And I'm not gonna lie, it was a little chilly out. We had a hat and
oh
mittens and
yeah.
stuff on, but it's okay. It was still, like I said, we walked for almost 2 hours because we just were talking about. Actually, she got a phone call from a friend of hers, um, and said, um, oh, I'm at your house. And she's like, oh, it's 5 o'clock already. I thought I had plenty of time. So anyway, she had to run. But yeah, no, it was it's good. It's really good because you do, I answered real estate investing questions, but yeah, we also talked about yeah, life and
Right. Yeah.
yeah, visions and backgrounds and like all those kind of things, which I mean really helps you to get to know a person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Build that trust.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and to make sure that does line. Yeah. So, tell us about your project and what kind of investors you're looking for and
Okay, so it's a 35 unit in Brockville, Ontario. We're looking for accredited investors. This is a 5 year five return of capital in 5 years. Essentially, there's a huge upside in this project. There's 26 units that are under market rent, and and the valuation and the thing is we have a plan moving forward to turn over some of those 3 units at least a year, and that's at a minimum, right? So with that there's finding new spaces to build an extra few units. Also there's adding income in parking. What else? Oh yeah, at some point we want to, as we turn over units, right now the tenants are the onus of the hydro is paid by the owner. So then we get to separate meters as we're turning over units. These are all working towards the higher valuation of the property. Like it's amazing. There's so much upside in this property. It's We're really excited. So we're offering equity positions. So 100K gets you 2.8%. And it's right now we got a price reduction of 300,000. And so we're really excited about the deal. And so
I think we can also talk about a little bit about the location as well. Like Brockville is a wonderful location to invest in. It is along the 401 corridor. So you've got, traffic coming in from Ottawa, Toronto. It is a booming community. It's a beautiful community along the water. So it's got lots of upside there in terms of making sure that the community itself, that people are committed to it. That young people are attracted to the community. And, as Michelle was mentioning too, just lots of really fun and unique ways to reduce expenses and then increase that income. And so we feel like it's one of those perfect like case study opportunities that we just love. And every time we look at it, there's like more and more ideas in terms of what can we do with it. We have covered parking and a designated covered and a parking space, but then they also have a carport, and it's like, well, you don't need both. So what are we going to do with that space in the carpet? Like it's being a carport and it's being underutilized, and it's like, do we make more units? Do we offer storage? Do you need bike storage? Let's find out what the community needs and make sure that we're giving them some of those resources that they need to be happy tenants, because it's a beautiful building. It's all brick. It's got a little bit of green space. It has lots of opportunity, and I don't want to say too much because we don't know exactly what we're doing, but it's really, the opportunities are endless in terms of how we can be creative with it. And we're excited if you can't tell.
yeah.
So I can tell.
Yeah. So it's a 50-50 split between the general partners and the limited partners. The minimum investment is 100K. The projected returns will be when we refinance in 5 years. There will be, this is where the return of invested capital will be. Actually, we're already going to start through the cash flow that's going to be built up, and we're going to be paying investors as fast as we can. When we refinance, everyone can have more pie. Yeah.
And so we'd love our listeners, if you're interested in Brockville, you've been thinking about maybe investing in that community, or if you're interested in going into a medium-sized building, DM us, Mich and Mel REI on Facebook. We can be reached at magneticventuresinc@gmail.com. We love talking about this deal. We probably talk about it in our sleep. We would love to sit down and listen to anybody's story to see if maybe your goals and our goals will align, and see if we can become partners in this beautiful, beautiful deal.
Yeah, and I want to mention that so if you go on our Mich and Mel REI Facebook page, we have a link to our link tree in our bio. So you can find our Calendly there, book a call, and we'd be happy to jump on a call. If you can't make those times and you want to meet earlier, send us a DM and we'll make it work
to accommodate.
Yeah.
Exciting. Very exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
And you know what? Before this, we've been looking and looking, and we've been looking at several buildings. And the thing is, we can never, I don't know, it was just not either. Yeah, the numbers were not working. The owners were stuck on their price, and interest rates were still really high. And I think, but now like this is the perfect opportunity, and so we waited for the perfect time, and this is the one. It's under contract, it's ready for us, and yeah, we just want to invite people on our journey. So
exciting. Very exciting. So reach out to Mich and Mel REI on Facebook. That's probably the easiest
that's right. Yeah,
way
I think so.
to contact you. Just a DM. And yeah, if you wanted to find out more about their opportunity in Brockville, that's exciting. Any last words
Well,
of
let's go back
advice
to
or
let's go back to one of the opening statements where we talked about small steps.
okay?
And I think it could be it can be very, very easy to get down on yourself when you are in that Facebook community, the social media community. Everybody's posting about all of their accomplishments, and it could be discouraging at times because you're working and you're like, oh, I've been chipping away at this. Michelle and it at some point took us. We have other deals under our plane. We've got smaller buildings, but it had been 5 years of us working towards getting a bigger deal under contract. And so, to that I say, keep going with those small little steps. The next plausible actions that you can take towards achieving that goal, because it is through those small little steps that you will reach anything that you want. I think sometimes we're so stuck in the weeds that we've been chipping away and working at a project for so long that it's hard to see all the accomplishments and all the growth that we've made to get to that part. We just see other people's highlight reel going by, and you can get a little down on yourself, especially this time of year. Spring's around the corner, but it's not quite there yet, and it can be, discouraging. And so for those listeners, just keep going, keep chipping away at it. Book calls with people who have deals because they want to talk about it. You want to talk about it. You're going to find some excitement and some inspiration in other people's work. Live off that, or not live off that, but seek that and use it to keep fueling, to keep yourself. Because motivation will get you going, but it's the discipline that'll keep you going and taking those everyday small actions. But you're a human being, and you can need another little pull out of the weeds to find that motivation and to find that excitement again. And whether through networking, whether through booking calls with people who are offering their time out for you, you will find that again. Stick with it. It's worth it. It's worth the discipline. It's worth that waking up at 5 a.m. to get that mindset going. It's worth the little bit of sacrifice that you're going to have to make because you're not, maybe socializing as much, or, your Netflix show is, being missing you. But sticking to those those disciplines will help you achieve that goal. And so to that, I just say you're so much more ahead than you realize. And
There's room for everybody.
there's room for everybody at the REI table. And it's more about the person you become while trying to achieve that goal than actually achieving the goal itself, because the goal, there'll be another one, but it's who you're becoming and the confidence that you find within, and the confidence that you acquire through trying new things and learning new skill sets. That's what you're really after. And it's through everyday actions and everyday discipline that you can achieve that.
Don't compare yourself to others. You're on your own journey. Make sure you take that time for the journey. Have weekly goals. Try to meet most of them, if you can, all of them. But there is room for, and celebrate your wins. Celebrate those little wins, because all of those steps that you've taken is getting you to the next step of your journey. And so really do not get down. I used to always go, oh, look at all of those people. How come it's not working for us? It's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time. So head up, and if you need to get on a call to get you into shape, give us a call. Let's get on a call and let's get you going. Okay?
I agree. Just the energy that you get. I'll talk to anybody about real estate investing. Sometimes I'll be like, okay, like, it's not an investor. I get so excited. Just tell me to shut up. But another practice that I do is I have a gains journal. And just before I go to bed at night, supposed to write 3 things. Most nights I just get excited and all the and I'll get up to 5, 6, 7, and just like it can be little small things. It doesn't have to be, but you just go to bed with a positive energy, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Yeah, I've been writing in my journal since April 21st, 2024, and I've been doing it every single day.
Excellent.
And I'm almost at a year, so but also, it's keeping on that mindset and keeping on that positivity, always, recognizing the little wins that you have. So it's so important to get you keep going. So hey, do it. You know what I mean? Hey, what
Little steps.
all the greatness is going to come out sometime. It's just a matter of time. You put everything in your corner, in your favor. So it's just a matter of time.
Absolutely. That's great. That's great. Well, thank you so much for joining tonight. Thanks, for talking about your journey, and
thanks for having us.
yeah, I love the analogy, that you're dating with your partners. And I love the fact that you actually schedule in your agenda to have those awkward awkward talks. So everybody's ready for it, and doesn't feel awkward about bringing something up. It's okay. It's awkward talk time. What do you want to talk about, right? Yeah, that's wonderful. I love it.
You build that, right? So give yourself the time to get there, and then keep up with it, because then it'll just be like growing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Growing together.
Yeah. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Okay. Well, thank you again for being my guest tonight.
And your listeners' time.
Yeah.
Thank you to the listeners for joining in. And if anybody would like to be a guest and share their expertise, I'd love to have you on. Send me a DM. I can send you the link to sign up for that. And for anybody who doesn't know about real estate investing and is in the Windsor area, I love to walk and talk. And I can and I've been hosting live events as well, just to teach non-investors, right? They don't know what they don't know. And it is such a lucrative, diversified way to build your portfolio and generational wealth. So I love to talk about it.
And an industry in abundance, right? So you never have to worry about running out.
That's right.
Everybody's welcomed.
Yeah. Buy land. They're not making it anymore. Okay. Well, thank you again. And thank you to my guests for joining in. It's been a pleasure. And we'll see you all next week.
All right. Thank you.